Hey everyone, what's up? It's Chelsea Van Buskirk with the Heart AF podcast. Hope you guys are all doing well. I'm settling in to, I feel like, a more relaxed season, not only in our actual literal seasons, but I just feel like physically for me, things seem to be calming down. I've spent the last few months of coming into this spring and summer season where things were really heavy for me. I was doing shadow work, and when you talk about doing shadow work, you're talking about dealing with some of the things that might be affecting you in your life, right? Like for me, just going through some lost relationships I experienced over the summer, or lost properties, losing a part of my identity, my job, and really coming in to seeing how my life was very out of alignment in a lot of different ways. And I think it was needed for me to have these experiences over these last few months to really bring me back to my core and bring me back to what my values are and bring me back to work some of these difficult feelings I've been having and to get me back to the light. So it's dealing with some of those negative emotions or processing things that are difficult to heal from, or coming to self-realizations of maybe I've been doing things that have led to some of these negative experiences, and really doing that kind of self-work on self-growth and coming out on the other side. And so we're coming into this fall season, which is my favorite. And I just love the cooler weather and just the excitement of the changes to come and the holidays to come. And it's just a fun time of year. And so I'm coming out of my depressive fog I've been under. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the last episode about how emotional the beginning of the month was for me with my birthday, and just reliving some of those memories, because anytime you experience like a big milestone, a birthday, anniversary of the death, things like that, those can draw up those grief-filled emotions and things. So coming off of that, I can feel that change in my energy and some of that healing that's been done as I've come back to myself and coming back to the light, right? And so anyway, I wanted to check and see if anybody has seen the new Pixar movie Elemental. It's not super new, but it is new on Disney Plus, like streaming for free if you have the Disney Plus app and subscription. And so I was very excited to watch it, and I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely give it a watch and let me know what you think. I thought there was quite a few things to take from the movie. Definitely made me cry, and I keep wanting to watch it. I think I watched it at least 7 times by my own doing. Usually when a kid really likes a movie, they want to rewatch it again. That was me. I was the kid. I was like, hey, you guys want to watch that again? And I was drawn to it because one of the themes I felt was speaking to people pleasers, or the ways that we can please others at our own expense, right? Like the ways that we take away from ourselves for the sake of others. And sometimes we can be well-meaning when we're trying to do those things, but at what cost, right? Like really thinking about what are we internally costing ourselves when we keep making these internal sacrifices over and over again just to appease other people or to do this for someone else. And this really goes into any relationship you have in your life, whether it's a relationship with your own parents, whether it's relationship with your children, relationship with your spouse or partner, and just general relationships with friends, other family members, and loved ones. And really coming to that awareness on in what ways do we maybe cut ourselves short, or in what ways do we suppress ourselves or cage ourselves or not speak our truth or change ourselves in certain ways in order to please other people or to keep the peace or to be liked or loved, right? People who are prone to people pleasing tend to have some kind of background or trauma where they might be scared or have a fear of rejection, a fear of abandonment, right? They experience some kind of rejection or abandonment in their childhood that stays with them. And so to combat that, to prevent that pain, to prevent that feeling of rejection, to prevent people from leaving them, right? They want to do whatever they can to keep people happy, and they take on those responsibilities that aren't necessarily theirs, right? We tend to assume that responsibility that it's our job to make other people happy, right? And it's not. And a lot of times parents will guilt trip you in a way, right? Like I see that a lot in parent and child relationships where the child takes on this responsibility where it's their job to please the parent. And that's actually not true. We are not responsible for other people's feelings. Other people's feelings are on them. Like we are responsible for our feelings and how we respond. And even though we may not want to upset other people, it's also not our responsibility to prevent that. And diving a little deep into this theme about at what expense we're damaging our own selves by not speaking our truths. And coming back to this movie, the main character, Ember, the fire element here in the movie, I'm not going to give too much away, but essentially she is willing to basically forego her dreams because she wants to please her father, right? Like she wants to do her father's dream, and she's so afraid of speaking up for herself, or she's not even quite aware in the beginning of the movie that she's even suppressing this, but it's coming out in anger, right? Like, you have to think of the negative ways these things are coming out in our behaviors and how that's toxic to ourselves. And so using this movie as an example, we have this, this budding young woman, right? Like this character who is suppressing her dreams because she feels like she has to go a certain path in her life because that's what her father wants. And because she's suppressing this conflict within her about that's not what she really wants to do with her life, but she's doing it because she feels like an obligation. She feels like the need to do this because of how much she loves her father, how much she wants to be a good daughter, that it's causing this temper in her, this buildup of anger that is quick to come out and explode. And she's the fire element. So setting things on fire can cause some damage, right? Similar things are happening within us when we do this as well. We do tend to get too afraid of hurting those we love, right? And we don't want to hurt people with our truth. And so we have to figure out these ways to be able to speak our truth, but do it in a loving way. It's a way of setting boundaries. It's a way of setting yourself free, honestly, because when you keep things in, when you let people walk all over you, when you are doing things you don't really want to do just because you don't want to ruffle feathers or just because you don't want to upset somebody else, you're literally caging yourself, you're suffocating yourself, and you can only do that for so long, right? When we are doing these things to ourselves, it's a way that we cause ourselves like actual physical ailments. It's a way that we can cause ourselves disease, or the way that we can even give ourselves cancer. And I hate to say that word, but it's true. Like there's ways that these negative things can actually affect our body chemistry and change cells to mutate and cause these diseases and illnesses within us. So every time that we are denying ourselves, caging ourselves, suppressing this truth within us, we're intentionally ingesting toxins into ourselves. That is literally what it's like. And I feel like we have to see how serious this is, right? This isn't just, oh, it's okay, like I'm just sacrificing because I love people. And the thing is, yes, you love people and you want to do things for people you love, but you have to still keep in mind your own livelihood, like your own soul, so to speak. You don't want to explode. You don't want to live this life at this low level of what it could have been, right? I always like to picture our lives as like on this spectrum, and I wish I had a whiteboard that I could show you what I'm talking about. We're gonna get a whiteboard, so stand by. I like to visualize our lives as this timeline, right? Like we have a starting point and an ending point, right? But we have this higher level, like highest potential we have for our life right at the top, right? This is like that high energy, happiness, joy, laughing, ease, right? And then we have this lower energies of anger, jealousy, envy, like the lowest possible potential for our lives, right? This is where people turn to addictions, things like that, right? Like they get stuck in these lower vibrational parts of their life, right? Like in everybody's lives, we tend to go up and down, right? And I like to think of it as we get these choices, right? Or these chances to live our life at these higher levels, right? We want to be up here experiencing this kind of life and trying to reach and grow to live up to our highest potential, like our highest possible living is up here in this area, in these high vibrational kind of levels, if you will. And each time that we are sacrificing pieces of ourselves, muting ourselves, not speaking our truth, living inauthentically, when we are conforming against what our soul wants, right? We're living down here, like we're not living up to our potential. We're not experiencing all that life has to offer for us. And there's so many people that can literally go through their lives living at this low state when they had this high potential here for them the whole time that they missed out on in this lifetime. And this is where people are living at sick. They have chronic issues right here because they're in this low level thing. Like I'm telling you, there is a science behind this stuff. There are ways to heal yourself with doing self-love work and really learning how to speak your truth and learning how to love yourself just as you are, not changing yourself, not trying to conform yourself, not trying to change pieces of yourself, trying to be what other people want you to be or think you should be, right? It's being who you are meant to be on this earth, in this lifetime, at this moment, right? And each time that you're saying no to the universe, saying no to our creator, saying no to love, by turning your back on yourself, by doing these things because you're helping somebody else, like that's not the way to live. And it's hard, right? I know what it's like when you take that on, like you take on these responsibilities that aren't yours. You're thinking you're doing somebody else's service, right? You feel like your intention is well-meaning when you are making decisions based on how you want other people to feel, and you want other people to feel good, right? That makes you feel good. But if you're making other people feel good while it's making you feel bad and you're trying to mask that, that's a problem. That's ingesting toxins. You're literally poisoning yourself by doing these things. And the only way out is to learn self-love, learn how to set boundaries for yourself, learn how to speak up and speak your truth, and know that you're doing it out of love. Like, it's not to be mean to anybody. The problem is it's uncomfortable to have these conversations. It's uncomfortable to speak our truth, but we have to have that confidence and that courage to have these small moments of being uncomfortable and speaking our truth so that we can be free and live how we want to live, so that we are not muting ourselves and living watered down lives. We might be afraid of that initial conversation or that initial uncomfortableness, but that's much better than living your whole life as this watered down, caged version of yourself, living uncomfortable for your lifetime. Do you want to live uncomfortably tense and angry and bitter and irritated at everything all the time? Or do you want to be relaxed and free and enjoy your life and have your kids see you enjoy life? Like, what role model are you showing to your kids when you're suppressing yourself, right? We talk about this when we talk about self-care and pouring into your cup before you pour into other cups. And there's this kind of line between this like toxic self-care and genuine self-care, right? Like, we're not saying abandon the needs of your kids, abandon your household responsibilities. Like, it's not about that, but it's about setting boundaries and clear expectations of what your needs are too, right? I've had to do a lot of this myself, and it's hard. I will tell you it's hard because I don't like to make people upset. I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but there's so many relationships that the situation becomes a lot worse because I've placated people for so long, not speaking my truth and not setting boundaries in the beginning. But now when I am finally ready to be done and say, no more can I neglect myself in this way, no more can I make these choices and let certain situations happen that I know are negatively affecting me. So now I have to have this uncomfortable conversation, and it's going to be a lot harder than it would have been if I would have started my relationship out speaking my truth from the beginning. So the sooner we can learn these skills to really first become aware of what it actually is that we need. So becoming aware is probably the first step to like being a recovering people pleaser, or trying to eliminate this kind of self-harm we do by giving into these people-pleasing behaviors. And you do that by noticing how you're reacting, right? In the Elemental movie, she became aware because her temper kept exploding, right? Why couldn't she handle these certain tasks? Why is all this stuff bothering her? Why is she set off so often? And you can tell in the movie as her character develops and as she develops like a relationship where somebody's seeing the true her real self, like seeing her dreams and her aspirations and who she is as her own individual person, and loving and accepting and seeing how beautiful she is as that individual, unique person. Like when she's in her element, being who she was meant to be, and seeing that somebody else is seeing that and accepting her, it's like that it awakens that piece of her and she's calmer, right? Her parents start noticing how her temper has eased up. This isn't clearly pointed out in the movie, but this is just things that I'm seeing that is relating to what I want to get on this episode today. And when she finally is able to speak her truth, it's actually not as bad as she is thinking it's going to be, right? We usually assume that it's going to burn bridges, that people are going to be so mad at us, that it's going to ruin relationships, that people are going to leave us. Because that's usually our fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. People are going to not like us. People are going to leave us, and we tend to be scared of that. But let me tell you, if people really love you and they really care about you, then they will value who you really are, and they will respect your boundaries. And yes, they may get mad. They're entitled to get upset because guess what? Things are going to change and things aren't going to be the way that they used to be for them. So yeah, they might get upset and mad, but they're going to come back around and respect you more. Your relationship will begin to be healthier because now you can have a better understanding of each other, a mutual respect for each other. They're going to know what your boundaries are and they're going to respect that, and they're still going to want to love you and be with you and still enjoy their time with you. But now you will be able to fully be yourself and enjoy your time with them as well. So it's like a happy win-win situation. In a separate case, let's say the person, they can't handle your boundaries. They walk away and they vibrate out of your life. That's okay too, because you don't want people in your life that are going to make you feel bad for being your true self. You don't need that. And as heartbreaking as it is, sometimes that can be your own family members. I've seen it happen before where people have had to cut off family members from their life because of how it negatively affects them. The family member was not able to respect their boundaries and love them with their boundaries. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. You just don't know. But you have to figure out for yourself, what is your life worth? Like, where do you want to be on that scale? Where do you want to be living your life? Do you want to be living it at that lower level in that caged, watered down version of yourself? Or do you want to be living up here where you're enjoying life and you're surrounding yourself with people that make you feel good, people that respect your boundaries, living your life where you're able to fully be yourself, you're able to express your needs and have people respect and meet your needs, and just really living your life closer to that higher potential, aiming for that highest version, best version of yourself, where you are living life in a blissful state, where you're able to take on the punches of life more easily because you're secure, you're in this space of self-love. You're not in this caged version of yourself where you've ingested all these toxins and you're just bogged down by the weight of being trapped, right? Do you want to be trapped or do you want to be free? And really the choice is yours, and we have to start making those choices for ourselves. We have to start finding ways to set those boundaries. We have to find ways to learn how to love ourselves enough to be able to speak up and to speak our truth, and that self-confidence where you just start getting that mindset of, I'm gonna be me and I'm gonna let the chips fall as they may, because the people that love me and who can see me for who I really am, those are the people that I want in my life. And if people can't be around that, then they can't. And that's on them. You gotta stick to number one, because this is your life. And I feel like sometimes people get hung up on thinking that's selfish, but it's not, because if you do have kids, if you do have a partner or a spouse, they're gonna wanna see the best version of you. What role model are you being for your kids if you're showing them that they need to live this life just full of bitterness, right? They need to know that it's possible for them to be free too. They're gonna need to see that. They're gonna need a role model to model that for them. And that's something that can be motivating for you too, to see how it's not selfish, that it's actually a way to show them how to love themselves. It's a way to show even other people. If you don't have kids, like any person that is able to walk the streets and live their life in that higher vibrational state, they're a walking role model. If you're able to speak your truth, set your boundaries, and take care of yourself and let go of these toxic things, you're a walking role model for so many people, anybody that you come into contact with. So do it. Be your role model. Like, you're worth it. You are perfectly made in the image of God, right? Like, that is a truth. Like, you are put here by our Creator exactly as you are meant to be. You don't need to change it. You don't need to conform it. You don't need to suppress your dreams in order to please other people, or what your parents, what your community, what society says that you should be, or how you should behave, what you should do for work, how you should, whatever, right? Like, you were meant to be you. Be yourself. Be that authentic self. Be true to you. Let yourself blossom and enjoy life and live life at those higher levels. That's what I got for you today. That's what I am encouraging you to do. And watch Elemental, and please let me know what your thoughts are, what came up for you listening to this episode. Let me know if you did watch the movie and what you thought. Leave a comment on the video on YouTube, or send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. My handle's at chelsea.vanbuskirk, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.